Welcome back to New York for our halftime report. Len Berman for NFL 83. It was a very big day for running backs. Walter Payton became #3 all-time passing OJ today. Kurt Warner, the first Seahawk ever to go over 1,000 yards rushing. And Butch Wolfolk of the Giants, 43 carries today. That's an NFL record. Now, all the scores and highlights. Wild game in Buffalo. The Raiders on the final play knocking off the Bills, 27-24. The great Buffalo comeback fell short. Tom Flores had to sweat this one out. Joe Ferguson, the Bills quarterback, was sacked here by Rod Martin. Ferguson suffered a concussion, had to leave the game. What a comeback, though, performed by his replacement, Matt Koppel. Look at this play before the snap. Jim Plunkett was nailed by Eugene Marv, and a brawl broke out. Both Marv and Mickey Marvin were thrown out of the game after that. Now, 4th and 15 now for the Bills. Koffler hits Perry Tuttle to tie it at 24 after the Bills had trailed 24-3. What a comeback. But Chris Barr, the final play of the game, 36 yards away. The second week in a row, Barr has won it with a field goal in the final seconds. The Raiders knock off the Bills 27-24. Miami, big over Baltimore, particularly when you consider the other 3 contenders in the AFC East all lost. Long day for Frank Kush and the Colts. Here's where Marino breaks it over. Look at him, kind of rocks the ball here and then blasted 85 yards to Mark Duper. This put Miami up 17-0, and the Dolphins never looked back after that. A couple of plays later, Ron Stark punting for the Colts. And keep your eye on Mark Clayton, number 83, takes it on the perfect bounce, 60 yards. He's gone. The game broken wide open. The Dolphins win at 37-0 and now take a 1-game lead in the AFC East over Buffalo, 2 games over the Colts and the Patriots. Pittsburgh had their 7-game winning streak snapped at home by Minnesota, 17-14. So the Vikes take over first place in the NFC Central. Fury River Stadium, that's where the Steelers have lost their 3 games this year, all at home. Cliff Stout, opening drive of the game. Here he goes, 3 yards to Benny Cunningham. Just like that, the Steelers led 7-0. Then the Vikings' first possession. Steve Dills, 30 yards to Sam McCullen, who's open for the touchdown. That tied it at 7. Here was what turned out to be the winning score. Dills scrambling. Tony Galbraith for the touchdown. The Vikes were up 14-7, went on to win it 17-14. San Diego, they beat Dallas last week. Not today. The Cards slaughtered them 44-14. And Detroit in overtime, they beat Green Bay 23-20. Billy Sims, 189 yards. Detroit now goes home to host Pittsburgh here on NBC Thanksgiving Day. Hope you'll join us for that one. Now, more scores and highlights. Bill McAdee.
All right, Lenny, a little bit of a surprise at Sullivan Stadium in Foxborough today. Cleveland and New England, and for the 2nd straight week, the Browns have themselves a shutout. 30-0 the final. It was a long afternoon for Steve Grogan. A tough hit as he got in the first quarter. You're going to see it coming up from Tom Cousineau. Grogan was replaced a little bit later by Tony Eason, the rookie. There was the hit. That set up this interception by number 56, Chip Banks. He goes 65 yards for a touchdown, and last year's Defensive Rookie of the Year out of USC gives the Browns a 10-0 lead. Now watch what happens here. Stanley Morgan wide open in the end zone, and Grogan can't manage to hit him under a little bit of pressure. But Eason has also thrown an interception, by the way, this afternoon. It's not always the quarterback's fault, though. Stanley Morgan drops the ball. 30-0, the final. The Browns go to 7-5. The Patriots fall to 6-6. The Giants won today. Philadelphia has not managed to win at home at Veterans Stadium. 23-0 the final. Bill Parcells had watched his club go 7 weeks without a win. Big day for this man, Butch Wolfolk, an 11-yard touchdown run here. 43 carries, an NFL record, and 159 yards. John Tuggle gets a touchdown here to put the game away, 23-0. Watch the hit by Terry Kennard here, the rookie out of Clemson, as he puts it on Vito Cabb. 23-0. The Giants have won this ball game. Houston and Cincinnati, 2 tough games against the Bengals this year. This was the score at halftime. This was also the final. 38-10 there. Chicago and Tampa Bay, it was a big day for Walter Payton. 27-0 the final. Walter Payton, 2 touchdowns in a downpour at Tampa Stadium. He moved past O.J. Simpson into 3rd place on the NFL's all-time rushing list. Now, Ahmad Rashad, Denver and Seattle. Folks down in Texas know about Gary Kubiak. He's a rookie out of Texas A&M. Interesting job. He got off to a fast start today, replacing John Elway out with the flu.
Well, what happens in this situation when Steve DeBerg goes down? Dan Reeves, being the coach that he is, the third-string quarterback gets as much practice time as the second-string quarterback. And now that with DeVerg out and Elway in, Kubiak has been practicing with the first team all along, and he still has Steve Watson, that every time I look up, he's catching a bomb on somebody.
Okay, Ahmad. Lenny?
All right, thanks, guys. Our halftime activities will continue shortly. I'll tell you, the Eagles were a real disaster case. 6 straight losses, just 10 yards rushing today. Tough shape there. We'll be right back, everybody. Okay, Dick Enberg and Len Berman in New York. Let's wrap up all the scores up to the minute around the National Football League. Some big stories, none bigger than perhaps in Buffalo. The great comeback by the Bills, but the last-second victory by the Raiders. The final there for the first-place L.A. Raiders, 27-24. What a comeback, though, from Matt Koffler playing for the injured Joe Ferguson. On a 4th and 15, got it to Perry Tuttle. What was a 24-3 lead for the Raiders was suddenly tied, 24-24. But in the final seconds, for the second week in a row, Chris Barr wins it for the Raiders. So the Raiders are now 9-3, final 27-24. Big day for Miami over Baltimore because the other key contenders in the AFC East all lost. Minnesota moves into first place NFC Central by themselves. Pittsburgh's winning streak is over. St. Louis, big over San Diego. You know, St. Louis has a playoff shot now. Detroit in overtime over Green Bay, 23-20. Cleveland helped their playoff hopes, 30-0 over New England. Giants shut out Philly, first Giant win in 2 months. Cincinnati over Houston, 38-10. Houston's winning streak is over at 1. Chicago over Tampa Bay. Walter Payton now third place all-time rusher. Game you're watching, all Dallas, 20-0 over the Kansas City Chiefs. Washington always wins on Sunday. Their only losses on Monday, 29-6 Redskins in the third quarter. Denver and Seattle. Gary Kubiak, the quarterback for Denver. Elway has the blue, 27-7 Denver. That game in the third quarter. In the third quarter, San Francisco and Atlanta. That's a key game in the NFC West. And with the Rams losing, San Francisco could take over sole possession, first place in the West, 14-14 third quarter. Reminder, Thanksgiving Day. Hope you'll join us. Silver Dome, Pontiac, Michigan. We will have Pittsburgh at Detroit. And a reminder that tonight here on NBC, the premiere of the miniseries Kennedy, Part 1. Hope you'll be watching. And we'll be going back to the field. Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen in Dallas after these commercial messages and these words from your local station.